Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azulnaim bin Rusdin and I'm one of the students for Uniki Almiat Bachelor of Aviation Management, and we are currently at Sultan Abdul Aziz Subang Skyport Airport.
Good morning everyone, we are from 5B AVM. My name is Ifra Ibrahim. My group members and I today will explain about the differences between CPM and CCP. We're going to describe the advantages and disadvantages of each one, and then we will also explain the differences of the project duration calculation in CPM and CCP. And then eventually we will relate how CCP and CPM is in relation to Subang Airport.
Critical path method is used to estimate the minimum project duration, to determine the method of scheduling flexibility on the logical network paths within the schedule model. A critical path is normally characterized by zero total floats on the critical path, and implemented with PDM sequencing, critical paths have zero, positive or negative total floats depending on constraint applied. Any activity on the critical path is called a critical path activity. Now we move on to critical chain management. This is a schedule method that allows the project team to place buffers on any project schedule path to account for limited resources and project uncertainties. Buffer and buffer management by adding duration buffers at non-work schedule activities to manage uncertainty. One buffer placed at the end of the critical chain, linking with activities that are not in the critical path chain. There are three types of buffers. The first one is project buffer. This is placed at the end of the project. The project buffer provides contingency for the critical chain activities. The second one is feeding buffer. This is placed at the end of a non-critical chain in order to match the duration of critical chain. The third one is resource buffer. This is placed on the critical chain to allow room for the designated resources to work on the critical chain tasks. These are developed from the critical path method approach and considers the effects of resource allocation, resource optimization, resource leveling, activity duration, uncertainty on the critical path determined using the critical path method. We use critical chain management to protect activities with durations that 1. Do not include safety margins, 2. Logical relationships, and thirdly, resource availability. This is limited resources and project uncertainties.
Yeah, thank you, Ifra. Okay, my name is Muhammad Fitri bin Azmi. I will continue on critical path method (CPM) on advantage and disadvantage. So there are several advantage and disadvantage. On advantages side is with the CPM, the project manager can determine the duration and estimate exact time and cost of the project. It help monitor human resource in terms of indirect and direct cost associated to the project. Second one is assist the project manager to planning schedule, monitor tasks and help control project expenses. And lastly is make it convenient of the project manager to calculate the time requirement to complete the task of the project.
Example of CPM is aircraft availability. Every aircraft needs to be maintained in certain flight hour depending on aircraft check, where is A, B, C and D. Advantage of CPM is airline know how long the aircraft unserviceable and they can replace with another aircraft for temporary time. Meanwhile, the disadvantage is when there are too many aircraft need to be maintained at one time. With less of human resources can be delayed the aircraft availability.
So now we move on to the disadvantage of the CPM. So the CPM can become ineffective and difficult to manage if it is not well defined and stable. Second one is cannot form and control the schedule of the person involved in the project. Lastly, by using CPM, identifying and determining a critical path is difficult when it comes to many other similar duration path in the project.
Okay, hi, my name is Abdul Atika binti Muhammad Habib. So I will explain my part is advantage and disadvantage of CCM. So these are three of advantage of CCM, which is it is related to the three theories, which is PM book, theory of constraint, and Six Sigma. So according to the PM book, the first advantage is the planning and control processes, because CCM is about schedule project, so it gives the advantage for the project to planning and better control processes. For the second is theory of constraint, which is this is to remove the bottleneck to resolve constraint, and the third is Six Sigma, which is it reduce variation. So for the disadvantage of CCM is there are three disadvantage also, which is there's the Parkinson law, student syndromes, and Murphy's laws. For the Parkinson laws is it is work expand to fill the available time, and the second is student syndrome, which is people start to work in full-fledged only with the deadline is near. The third is Murphy's laws, which is according to the Murphy's laws, what can go wrong will go wrong.
Night out and you're looking all freaky with it.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Safar Anwar bin Adnan. So for my part, I will explain regarding the calculation of CPM and CCM.
Now I will explain the calculation of the critical path method, CPM. Before we do the calculation, we should understand the network diagram and a few terms that usually used inside CPM. The terms are early start, early finish, late start, late finish, and the critical path. Basically, the calculation is based on two types of the float, that is total float and free float. Total float is the amount of time an activity can be delayed without delaying project completion date. There are basically two formulas to calculate total float, which is late start minus early start, or the other one, late finish minus early finish. Next is free float. Free float is the amount of time an activity can be delayed without delaying the early start of its successor activity. To calculate free float, the formula is early start of successor activity minus early finish of current activity. Now moving on to the calculation of critical chain method. In critical chain method, buffer is added in between the activity to guarantee that the project is completed on or before the predefined project deadline. So the buffer is added in between the activity inside the network diagram. The calculation of buffer is different from of float in CPM because there are no time included inside the buffer. For buffer, it is said that usually it will be implemented during half of before the completion of each activity.
Night out and you're looking all freaky with it. Black jeans, black shirt, no hickeys with it. I got options in the club, but I'm picky with it. Yeah, I'm picky with it. You stole my heart like a criminal. It runs more deep than the visuals. I can tell that you're feeling me. Maybe we should live a little. First night we slept on the mat.
Assalamualaikum everybody, my name is Muhammad Azunaim bin Rusdin, and in my part I will be explaining about the CPM and also CCM, on which area of this airport that needs improvement that we can use by implementing the CPM and also the CCM.
Put my hand on your leg and you smacked it. I guess you were afraid.
We when it comes to CCM, which is the critical chain method, these two machines could actually be the feeding the resource buffer for this airline operation, because the number of machine does not actually cater with the number of airline operation and also the airport operation. So in order for them to improve this method, they will have to add more machine, or in order to improve this airport, they will have to make sure that the number of operation in airline does cater with the number of machine that they have in this airport. So let's talk about the next buffer, which is the project buffer. In airline operation and also the airport operation, there are certain type of problems that the airline actually faces towards the end of the times where they need the aircraft to fly. One of the example is the no-show passenger, where they actually check in their baggage but then they did not come to the aircraft. They couldn't make it to the aircraft. So this will cause the airline to delay the aircraft to make sure that they will take out the baggage from the aircraft itself of the owner of the baggage that did not come to the aircraft.
Put my hand on your leg and you smacked it. I guess you.
So when we want to talk about the CPM, which is the critical path method, there are certain area of the airport and also the airline that can actually cause minimum and also the maximum delays for the airline operation itself. For an example, if you look at this aircraft, normally there are certain, for every landing, they will have to do a check, an inspection. When normally for this type of aircraft, it will take only 15 to 20 minutes. But if the engineers and also the pilot found a very major defect, it will take almost an hour to make sure that this aircraft can actually fly again. So this is why you can see that the implementation of CPM in airline operation also affect when it comes to the turnaround time of the aircraft for every flight.
Put my hand on your leg and you smacked it. I guess you.
That's all from our group. Thank you so much for watching.
When she locks the door, you're sneaking out at night. Does your mama know? When you're with the girls, it's really you and I. Does your mama know? When we kill the lights, good guys are not your type. Does your mama know? When you strike a pose, you ain't too camera shy.